The sun beat down on the dusty shoulder of the highway, baking the asphalt and turning the air into a shimmering haze. On the edge of this harsh landscape, a lone figure lay, a silhouette against the blinding glare. A Rottweiler, young and powerful, but with a gauntness that spoke of hunger and exhaustion. His black fur, normally gleaming, was matted and dull. He stared ahead, his intelligent brown eyes filled with a wary alertness that kept everyone at bay. Volunteers from the Society for the Protection of Animals poured in, their hearts heavy with the story. They brought food, water, and blankets, leaving them carefully at a distance. The Rottweiler, though starved, remained wary. He devoured the food with a ferocious hunger, but wouldn't allow anyone near. One thing stood out: a red blanket, worn and threadbare, lay beside him. He wouldn't let it out of his sight, guarding it fiercely. It was as if the blanket held a piece of his world, a memory of a life before the highway. Was this the reason for his aggression? Was he protecting something, or someone? Days passed. The volunteers kept their distance, showering him with food and water, their hearts aching for the majestic animal. They knew that fear and aggression stemmed from pain and confusion, but they couldn't risk a bite. They were running out of options. Then, one evening, a young woman named Anya approached. She was a regular visitor, one of the few who had managed to gain the dog's trust, leaving food within his reach. Anya felt a deep connection to the dog, a sense of understanding that went beyond the fear. She had seen him, not as a dangerous animal, but as a soul lost and desperate. That evening, Anya noticed a familiar scent clinging to the red blanket, the faint aroma of lavender. She had a flash of memory, a forgotten scent from her childhood. It belonged to her grandmother, who had passed away years ago, and her grandmother's favorite blanket. Could it be? Anya, guided by a hunch, brought a few lavender-scented candles with her the next day. She placed them carefully near the food, then retreated. As the sun began to set, a miracle happened. The Rottweiler, his eyes fixed on the candles, slowly moved towards them. He sniffed them tentatively, then began to rub his head against them, his aggression fading. His tail, for the first time in days, wagged ever so slightly. He lay down next to the candles, the red blanket beside him, and let out a soft, whimpering sigh. He wasn't just hungry, he was grieving. Anya, watching from a distance, understood. The blanket, the scent of lavender, it all connected to a story that had been lost. It was a story of a loving family, of a bond that even death couldn't break. The Rottweiler wasn't protecting something, he was protecting a memory. The next day, Anya returned with a box of treats and a dog leash. This time, she walked towards the dog, her heart pounding. The Rottweiler, his eyes gentle, allowed her to approach. He licked her hand, a sign of trust, and allowed her to slip the leash on. Anya led him away from the highway, his steps still a little hesitant, but his eyes filled with a newfound hope.